Brought to you by BlackMagic Design, the world's highest quality products for the feature film, post and broadcast industries. BlackMagicDesign.com, the Tonkawa Film Festival, celebrating short films from around the world. Tonkawafilmfestival.com. And by Hanzl. Use the promo code RABBIT to receive 10% off Hanzl products. Hanzl.com.
Hello and welcome to No Rest for the Weekend. I'm Jason Godbey, and today we're going to be talking about some films from this year's Woodstock Film Festival. And joining me via Zoom to talk about some movies, you know her as the host of Made with Jackie Hanzl and HomeBodiesOnly. It's Jackie Hanzl. Welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Good to have you. You are our official Woodstock correspondent. So
I'm in Woodstock right now.
So we got the local. You're our local stringer, I guess we would call you.
That's right.
And it seemed like a great festival this year. Like they had a lot of movies. And
Yes.
you saw some. I actually saw some down here that were like part of other festivals and such. So I figured we just put them all together. All right. So what's the first movie that you saw?
River of Grass. It's a documentary about the Florida Everglades, and it was directed by Sasha Wurtzel. She grew up there. It was inspired by a book of the same name by Marjorie Stoneman Douglas. And this woman, she lived until 108. She passed away in 1998. She was a woman like before her time. She was a mid 20th century conservationist. She helped to fight and to prevent the plan was to call it Everglades Jetport in 1970. It was supposed to be this gigantic airport, basically, and they squashed it. She found the group Friends of the Everglades. From what I could see, it looked like she was the only woman in this group. The film really weaves the threads of the environmental and industrial crisis that's happening in Florida. And it also features Betty Osceola, who's an environmental conservationist, educator, and airboat captain. She's a member of the Muckasuki tribe of Indians of Florida and the Panther Clan, it's called. She organizes and leads prayer walks, educates, and I believe she does tours. And it's the only Everglades in the world. It's the only one. To describe this movie, it was really beautiful. I did not write this quote, but someone called it restrained but urgent. And that was totally the feeling. That was like, yes, that's perfect, because it did stress you out because it's just all the stuff that's going on in Florida, but it didn't make you panic. Like it was restrained. That was like totally the perfect phrase to describe it. The director, she narrates it. She wasn't originally going to do that, but then it kind of just, I guess, came to her, and she was there. So there was Q&A. It was great. It took 2 years to make this movie. She was saying how she treated the water as a character. She filmed the water like it was a human with respect and dignity. And you could feel that. You felt very immersed into the landscape. The film touches on the construction that's been built on top of the Everglades, which is killing, the ecosystem and the environment. They, in Florida, I mean, maybe other places, I don't know, they do this sugarcane burn. Have you ever heard of that? Where they burn I think at the end of the growing season, they burn the sugarcane, and it's mostly done, I hate to say this, in communities with minorities, and it's burning pesticides and putting pesticides into the air. So that, they touched on that. There's a big python problem in the Everglades because of people having pets as pythons and then letting them go because they obviously can't handle them. And they duplicate very quickly. And it's a major problem. They're eating 90% of the animals that live in the Everglades. So there's people called python wranglers who go out and try to wrangle pythons, and they have to kill them, and that's what they're doing. And so there was, again, I hope I'm not like giving too much away about the film, but I just thought this was so interesting. There was a mother-daughter duo, and they show them at night, and they find a python. Unfortunately, the python had just eaten something, but these two women actually really love and respect like snakes and everything, but obviously they're killing, too many animals. And, it's a real problem with alligators. Alligators are like the heart of the Everglades. Like it's kind of like sharks, even though people are scared of sharks and all that stuff. We need sharks. The Everglades need the alligators. One thing the alligators do is when the water starts getting low, they dig holes into the bottom of the water and, in the dirt and to get like lower down. And by them digging those holes, it actually helps other animals to find food as well. So it was really good. It was just so interesting. And it was, heartbreaking too, but there are groups trying to fight for the Everglades. And I don't know. I hope there can be changes because there's also this, they call it red tide, and it's algae, but it's toxic, and that's another thing hurting the animals. And yeah, so
Thank you for seeing that. I have a very different movie in mind. So the film Christy it's a biopic about world champion boxer Christy Martin. She was a big name in the 90s, and she has this pretty extraordinary story. And I knew who Christy Martin was from being a boxing fan, because she fought on like some major undercards. I think she might have been on the Tyson Holyfield undercard, and was like the first. I think she might have been the first female boxer to be on a pay-per-view card. So, and she was a world champion. I knew who she was, but I didn't know her story, and her story is pretty incredible. There's a Netflix Untold documentary. Untold is like a sports documentary series on Netflix, and they did one on her, and I saw that, and I went, oh my God. Then I thought, somebody's going to make a movie from this. This stars Sydney Sweeney as Christy Martin. She's really transformed herself for this. She looks like Christy Martin, like enough that you don't get taken out of the movie. And I thought she really pulled off the boxing well, and she got a boxer's body. There are a lot of fights in the film. Like, she looks pretty credible at doing this stuff. She also has this West Virginia accent. They called her, the coal miner's daughter, and she really was a coal miner's daughter. Like, her dad and her brother worked in the mines. She was promoted for a time by Don King, who's played by Chad Coleman. Everybody knows Don King. Chad Coleman just looks like he's having a ball playing Don King. Ben Foster plays Jim Martin, who was her trainer / husband, and he is unrecognizable. I was like, who was that? Like till the end of the movie, and I saw Ben Foster. I was like, oh my God, that's Ben Foster. The transformation is incredible, and having seen the doc, he is able to capture the mannerisms and the voice and everything, and he's terrific in it. Merritt Weaver, who I was actually just watching in a rerun of Nurse Jackie, she's a lovely actor, wonderful actor. She plays Christy's mother, and she's really terrific. And then they showed Christy at New Fest, which is how I saw it, and we interviewed Katie O'Brien, who plays Lisa Hollowine, who was an opponent of Christie's and then became a sparring partner and then became her life partner, and they are still married today. That in and of itself is an extraordinary story. I don't know how much into the plot. Of course, anybody can look this up because it all really happened, like it's a true story. But I don't want to spoil it just in case you want to go into the movie cold. There are fun things like drug abuse and domestic violence in this movie. Leave the kids at home for this one. Definitely. The thing about this is, this film is clearly a vehicle for Sydney Sweeney. Like this is pure Oscar bait. It's almost like the formula of, okay, we need a star, we need her to transform herself completely so she's unrecognizable. Hollywood has a habit of taking like some of the most beautiful women in the world and look at Charlize Theron when she did Monster. This is a vehicle to get Sydney Sweeney an Oscar, basically.
Yeah.
But Ben Foster also deserves one. I thought Sweeney was great. Ben Foster's great. It's Oscar bait, and that sounds negative, but it's actually a good film. Like that doesn't mean it's a bad movie.
Yeah.
And I would definitely say it's worth seeing. It's a movie that I think really lives and dies with the performances. I do have a couple of criticisms, and it didn't take me out of the movie completely. Whenever they were in the ring, it kind of looked like they were always using the same ring in a lot of the scenes. Like there was one that's like an outdoor thing early on, and then when they get indoors, it looks like they shot everything in the same place, even though they were realistically all in different arenas. When you look outside the ring, you spend the whole fight in the ring, and then when you look outside, it's just kind of black. So you don't really see, too much of the crowd. There is one scene toward the end where you see her walking in to the arena, and my guess is they just co-opted a fight, like, or co-opted an event. The other thing that also I sort of like showed the budget was I hate to say it, but there's like a few bad wigs in the movie,
Oh
and
no.
some makeup that doesn't, like
Oh.
some aged makeup that just, and I was like,
Oh.
really? And I don't, maybe people won't notice that sort of thing, but there was a couple of things I was like, is that her real hair, or like, is that so and so?
No.
I mean, for the most part, Sydney Sweeney looked fine. It was just some of the other players,
Mm.
some of the supporting players that I thought maybe could have used either more time in the makeup chair or like get a better wig. Other than that, I would say it's a solid movie dramatically. And everybody is very good in it. But yeah, it's definitely an Oscar vehicle. I think it will come down to how big a campaign the movie does for her and for
Right.
maybe for Foster, and for the movie itself. So yeah, let's move on. What do you got next?
Cutting Through Rocks, another documentary. It was directed by Sarah Kaki and Mohammed Rizi. Aini is his last name. It's about Sarah Shabayardi. Hope I'm saying this right. She was the first elected councilwoman of her village in Iran. It's about, I don't know the name of the village. I don't think they ever said it. It's about 5 hours away from Tehran. She breaks traditional roles for women. She's divorced. She knows how to do construction. She rides a motorcycle. She's a real rebel and breaks those roles. She was a midwife and she had delivered 400 children. That's what really helped her get elected. But she is charged with accusations that question her intentions with girls and women, as well as how she identifies her gender. That's in there. This movie was a slow burn in a good way. This woman is a strong, amazing woman. She has 6 sisters and 3 brothers. She was the seventh and youngest daughter, and her father really wanted, I think he really wanted a son, but he taught her construction. He's the one who taught her construction and how to ride a motorcycle. And he allowed her to dress however she wanted. And she did. She dressed more like a boy when she was little. It's also gutting. I mean, she touches your heart. She just really cares, trying to, prevent these young girls from getting married. I mean, 11-year-olds having children, getting married and having children. There's a woman, well, she was 16 in the film, but she had gotten married at 12 to a 35-year-old. One of the men in the movie, she actually went to school with him, but he's an uncle of one of the women she's trying to help, and he, you know, wants to prevent the girl, I think, from like riding a motorcycle or doing something like that, and breaking her role. And he says, and there's obviously subtitles in this. He says you can give a woman shoes, but not paths to walk on. So that's obviously their opinion about women. The two began making this film in 2017. So this took 8 years. They started thinking about it in 2017. I think it was by 2019, the film company picked them up. And also COVID happened. So they were like in lockdown for a while. So that delayed things. Then they were under house arrest in Tehran. They were suspected of, I actually think I could be wrong, but there was a Q&A. I'm pretty sure she said they were suspected, like maybe they were supporting Israel. They got their drives taken away from them, but they did get them back. I mean, these two went through a lot, and what's interesting, that the filmmakers, so the woman Sarah Kaki, she did move to America. She was born in Iran, and she moved to America. I think she went to high school. She went to high school here and college, and she wanted to make, obviously, a movie about a strong woman, and she contacted. Sorry, I have to look at his name again. His last name is Aini, but Mohammed Rizi. She had worked with him on something. I think, something with film, and she remembered him being, good at his job. So she contacted him and was asking because she would not have been able to travel there alone. A single woman cannot travel there alone. So, and he also spoke the language, I think, better than her. And so she asked if he would do this film with her, and he said yes. And they ended up falling in love and getting married um, during this. So that was cute. But I guess when they were, in the beginning when they were traveling, people were like questioning what their relationship was, and they would get obviously at that point separate hotel rooms, and there's just like a lot of that, and also so a lot of you see in the movie Sarah talking with women. She would have women over, and they would talk about different things, obviously, and there wasn't like he could have never been able to do that without Sarah, the director, the director filmmaker, and she wouldn't be able to travel there without him. So they really like needed each other for that. Uh, it it was so good. I mean, just I absolutely loved it. I mean, I don't like to compare, but for the two documentaries I saw, this to me, I liked it. I don't want to say I liked it better, but I don't know. Like if I had to pick one over the other, I would pick that one. I mean, but Everglades was a different topic. Both of them, though, are about strong women, which I thought, was it's interesting. It just, I mean, I knew women, the arranged marriages there, and you got married young, but when she said 11 with children, I was like, what? So it's just crazy. They don't want them to go to school past a certain grade, and so it was excellent. And this woman is amazing.
That sounds intriguing. Unfortunately, none of these movies were a lot of laughs at
I know.
Woodstock this year.
Yes, all of them were heavy.
And we're gonna talk about another one that we both saw. You saw it in for the Woodstock Film Festival. I saw it for a screening here a while ago, and I was actually there was an embargo date on the review, so I couldn't put it out right away.
Right.
But it's a very powerful film, and it's the feel-good movie of the year, Nuremberg. It's based on the book The Nazi and the Psychiatrist by Jack L. High. It's the story of Douglas Kelly, who is a psychiatrist assigned to examine the remaining leaders of Nazi Germany, including Hermann Goering, who is played by Russel Crowe, and Douglas Kelly is played by Rami Malek. This is an acting tour de force kind of movie. Goering, if you don't know the history, he was Hitler's second in command. Kelly goes into this with this like real enthusiastic gusto of like, I'm going to figure out the nature of evil and probably publish a really big book out of this thing. The reality of the situation is much different. This movie is a gut punch. It's incredibly poignant. It's sadly timely. There's a quote that it brings to mind, which is, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. And with the rise of fascism in the world, I feel like this is a movie people should see. And Crowe is terrific in it. And this is another Oscar vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Like he doesn't have enough Oscars, but he's already got two. But he plays Goering as like charming and affable and kind of seductive. And it's like when you meet him, you see like, oh, he's kind of narcissistic, but you don't believe he's a monster. And then through the course of the film, we see these things. You get sort of drawn in, and the movie, like Goering, sort of seduces you into it, and then it really pulls the rug out from under you. And there's the other phrase, the banality of evil. So there's a great part in the film where Malek asks him, he's like, so what was the appeal? Like, what was it about? Like, what was the appeal of Hitler? And he's like, well, I saw him speaking in this small room, and he just made us feel German again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so chilling, and there's a couple of other really chilling moments in the film. The part where you actually see the trial in it, and there's a part where they play documentary footage that's real. that they really took in the camps. And oh my God, it's worse than any horror movie you have ever seen because it's the real thing and it's nightmare fuel. It's one of those things like you have to like this happened. This
Yeah.
is not a movie. This happened,
Yeah.
and this is the horrible nature of it. Um, and the world and people suffered. I hadn't seen Crowe do this kind of work in a while, and I think he sort of reminds us what a great actor he is. And we kind of already knew that Rami Malek was great, but yeah, this is like I said, it's total Oscar bait, but it's still really good, and people should still go see it. What did you think of it?
Yeah, I mean, although it was long, it moves quickly. Like there was no like, oh, when is this going to end or anything like that. I thought it was great. Very dark, literally dark, but beautifully beautiful. It was beautiful. Rami Malek is captivating. I mean, he's such an interesting looking person and his features and his facial expressions and he's just so interesting to look at and a great actor. I said Russell Crowe is so good and repulsive. I actually had no sympathy for him. Oh oh, but I felt really badly for his wife and his child. But I was still like completely disgusted. The fashion. I mean, I know we mostly see them in almost like army fatigues or yeah, but the fashion's beautiful. I mean, it was the 40s. I mean, I'm doing all the superficial stuff. Leo Woodall is in it, who I have brought up on this podcast before. I forgot. I think I had known because they filmed this, I think a couple years ago, I thought. I had known at one point that he was in this, but I did not remember. And I'm sorry. They show him when Rami gets off the train, and I'm like, who is that? And I'm like, oh my God. I mean, that brought a bright light to me, I'll tell you. And I was very excited. They do show him in a wife beater standing in the doorway. And I was like, okay, a lot of depressing things in this, but I'm very happy he's in.
He acts quite well in the film too. Like he does a good
No,
like
he is a good and an
he has
American accent. I've never heard him with an American
he
accent.
does there's a part toward the end.
Oh,
There's sort of it's a part. It's almost like the all is lost moment in the movie, and
hmm
he's got this really great scene with Rami Malek. And I was like, because I was like, why is this guy in this movie? Like he doesn't, he doesn't have a huge part, and he plays Rami Malek's driver,
Translator.
driver slash translator,
All
and
right.
you're like, okay, I mean, and then that part at the end, you go, oh, okay, that's why
Yeah.
they needed somebody
Yeah.
with some real chops.
Yeah.
Um, and but just I think too, just to be in the room with some of these guys.
Mm.
John Slattery is in it, and he gets a lot of authority figures as characters. Like he's
Yeah.
very believable as like a an army
An
captain or
officer
something
or
like
something.
that. Yeah, the other the former Nazi leaders, they are also well cast. Given the history, you kind of expect these people to be snarling monsters or something,
Right.
but when you find out they're just ordinary people and they're just and I won't give away the ending. I mean, it's all history. You can literally read this, but I won't give away the ending. But that ending, that climactic moment when they've got Gehring on the stand, oh my God. You could kind of feel the wind go out of the audience, I was in a small screening room, but with a bunch of critics, but you could hear just people going, oh my God. It's a powerful, powerful film. I hope people do see it. I hope people aren't
Yeah.
scared by the subject matter.
Right.
Um, you know, um,
I don't know if I would have seen it, to be honest. Because I don't love that. I mean, I know people don't love that subject matter, but I do tend to shy away from that. Um, because it is heavy, but I'm really glad I saw it.
it's one of those movies. It is good. Like it's a really quality film, and it's very poignant,
hmm
especially now. And I'd say it's a must see for the year. All right. Well, with that being said, I got to wrap up. But before we do, where can we find you and your work online?
Well, we have homebodiesonly.com, our website for Homebodies Only. I have podcast Made with Jackie Hanzl, which is on YouTube as well as all audio podcast platforms. HomeBodiesOnly podcast is also, of course, on YouTube as well as all audio podcast platforms. On Instagram, it's HomeBodiesOnly_pod. My co-host Diana makes fun of it that I have an underscore, but do a bit on Instagram. Also, I'm Jackie and the Sticks with an X on Instagram for Made with Jackie Hanzl, but also some just personal fun stuff. I think that's it.
And that's all we got for you. Thanks for taking this trip down the rabbit hole once again. For more content, including more film festival coverage, visit norestfortheweekendpodcast.com. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform or on YouTube, youtube.com/getbehindtherabbit. I'd like to thank Jackie Hanzl and our sponsors, BlackMagic Design and the Tonkawa Film Festival. For Behind the Rabbit Productions and the BTRP Media Network, I'm Jason Godbey. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
This is the BTRP Media Network.